So last week for school, I had to make a video showing how to repair a nail. So I glued a nail tip on, I cut a little crack in it, and I showed how to use fiberglass and resin to repair a nail. And now I just removed a nail, and I actually have a real cracked, torn, natural nail. So I am going to make another video showing you how to use the fiberglass and resin on a actual cracked, ripped, natural nail. So you need resin. And there's a couple different kinds, and you either need an activator, a resin activator, or a resin accelerator to harden and cure the resin. So the activator is actually out of a dip kit, and it does take about a minute. The accelerator is amazing. It will dry the resin instantly. It will instantly harden it. So if this is something you're interested in, you definitely want to get the resin accelerator. So every service begins with scrubbed, clean, and disinfected multi-use tools, brand new single-use items, and for every video I make, I am forever practicing the proper prep steps that I need to show for state board. So it starts by clipping all the nails, which we are not going to do to this damaged nail. So you clip straight across is your prep step number 1 for state board. Step number 2 is you take a nail file and you gently shape the natural nails. You do not use a sawing back and forth motion. You start on the edge and file inward, which we are not going to do to this damaged nail. So this is a nail repair service, and with any service, if you spot any kind of damage or any concern, you have to adapt the service. So we are not going to do our regular prep steps on this damaged, thin, brittle, torn, natural nail. So your third prep step is to use a cuticle pusher to gently push back the cuticles, and it's important that you keep it flat and parallel to the nail, that you're not going in at an angle, that you are using your other fingers to stabilize and support. And we are just gently, very gently pushing back the cuticles and removing any old product or dead skin off of the nail plate. Now, our fourth prep step for state board is to use your cuticle nippers. And what the state board is looking for is you clip a little clip on the left side, a little clip on the right side, and then continue to clip all the way across. Again, I don't think I need that right now. My nail is very thin and damaged. One, for state board, we cannot use an e-file. So I am always practicing prep without the e-file because we can't use it during the state board test. So your last prep step is to very gently remove the shine off of the nail plate. With a very thin, damaged nail like mine, you got to be super, super, super gentle with a fine grit nail file. And this step is important for your retention. You do need to go and smooth out the nail surface. You do need to remove any old products, any dead skin that might be left over. So even with very damaged nails like this one, you still have to very gently prep the nail so that for maximum resin adhesion. So we dust off all the nail dust when we are done. We also need to use a nail cleanser and a lint-free wipe. Guys, there's a reason why they make nail cleansers. They are specially and specifically designed to cleanse the nail plate and also help with nail prep. You shouldn't be using other stuff like acetone or alcohol to cleanse the nail. Now look at that. So use the nail cleanser. They make it for a reason. So our first step in the actual nail repair service is we are going to use the resin to close this crack. So and then we will cut a stretch strip, and then we will also use a full fabric overlay on top of the repair strip. But step number 1 for the repair is, first we got to finish our prep. You absolutely, no matter what service you are doing, you need to dehydrate and prime, and that provides the best surface for maximum adhesion. So we are dehydrating and we are priming. And then our next step is going to be to put a little tiny bit of resin on that crack and actually just hold the crack closed before we do anything. So resin, it is not gel. It does air dry. So once you open that resin bottle and start applying it, the little clock starts ticking. It does air dry. So you want to have all your little strips of fabric already cut. For an overlay, you are going to need a piece that covers the majority of the nail plate. For a crack repair, you also need a thinner strip that's going to cover up the actual crack and the entire stress line. So this one I am cutting right here is going to be the actual overlay. And then that first piece that I cut, that is going to be our stress strip. And because the resin does air dry, you should absolutely cut all your little strips and get all the products that you need to use and have everything all set up and laid out and ready to use. So we are going to start by putting this little strip over the stress area and over the crack. So you cut it to cover the area that you're trying to cover. You apply the resin, you apply the fiberglass, and then you cut and trim the fiberglass strip more to the nail. So this is just the primer. And here's the resin. So like I said before, we are just going to put a little bit of resin over the actual crack. And I am just going to hold it closed to actually close the crack up a little bit. And I'm really excited to actually be able to try this on an actual nail. Like, we have been practicing doing it on fake nails for school. And I'm not even going to lie. Yes, a torn, cracked nail sucks. But when I saw it, I was actually like, oh my God, I'm going to do my first actual real nail repair. So now we are covering the entire nail in a very thin layer of resin. We're going to apply the stress strip, and we are making sure that it covers the entire affected area where the rip or the crack is. And you don't want to put just a little tiny piece over the crack. You want to apply a strip that goes across the entire nail. So the reason why fabric nail wraps are the preferred way to repair nails is because that strip actually, like, once the repair is done and any kind of weight or stress is put onto the nail, that wrap actually redistributes the weight or the pressure and kind of redistributes it over the entire nail instead of all the weight and the pressure going on that one spot and snapping it. It's like a little tiny band-aid. And then when you also add a fabric overlay over the stress strip, it's literally like putting like a shield over the entire nail. Well, at least that's how they explain it in the Milady chapter on resin. And I have never actually done this on a real natural nail. And I want to see if it really does truly disappear. So when done correctly, the fiberglass nail wrap or the silk nail wrap, whatever kind of fabric you're using, it is supposed to like go completely transparent where you can't even tell that there is a fabric wrap on there. So I'm really excited to see if I actually did it right and if it really is going to disappear and look like a normal nail. So we have the fiberglass on there and it should disappear. Oh my God. So yeah, it is completely disappearing with this layer of resin. Now, if you've never done this before, you want to do super, super thin layers of resin. So because it air dries, less is more. You definitely want to do very, very thin layers. And if you need more layers, you add a little more layers. But if you try to use thick layers, it is not going to, it's not going to like harden and cure completely through all the way. And then two, it is going to make your nail look like bulky and chunky, and you don't want that either. You just want to use super thin layers. And so the resin, you absolutely have to use either an activator, which is what I am using right now. Now, what I am using is actually the resin liquids that come in like a dip powder kit. So they do make other kinds of resins, like nail glues are resins. The non-gel air glue, air dry, regular nail glue are absolutely resins. And we learned during our resin unit that the word resin basically just means adhesive. So the resin activator that comes like in the dip powder kits, it takes about 60 seconds to fully harden, where resin accelerators instantly will dry the resin. It will instantly be hard. So we need to give this guy about 60 seconds. And there we go. Look, you cannot even tell that that nail had a huge crack in it. I'm actually kind of proud of this, guys. All right, so we laid and layered the fabric wraps. We applied the resin. We hardened it with the resin activator. Now our last step is to very, very gently shape the nail tip. And you want to do that, since it is the natural nail, you still have to be very gentle. And you just want to slightly round the edges. So you start from each edge of the nail and just slightly round it inwards towards the center of the nail. You do not want to go like back and forth across the tip in a sawing motion. Just from the edge to the center, from the edge to the center on each side of the nail. So we did have 2 layers of that fiberglass on there. And it is so amazing. Like, my nail was so thin and weak and flexible. And this really did really strengthen and reinforce the nail. And look, you cannot even tell. All right, so to finish it up, we are just going to shape the tip around the edges. We are going to buff and file the entire surface of the nail. Oh, look at that. So we are going to have to clean that up too. So yep, we are going to finish file and very gently buff the entire nail surface. Now with any resin, like with dip powder, you use the activator, you file it, you buff it, and then you have to remember to reactivate it. So once we are done filing and shaping and buffing, we do have to go back in and do 1 more layer of activator. And then once the activator dries, we add our top coat, and it literally looks just like a regular natural nail. It is so cool. So we are just filing, very, very gently filing. We just want to remove the shine. We want to smooth the surface. We want to make sure that it looks natural, that it's not funky shaped, that it's not like thick. We want it to look thin and even and as natural as possible. So something else to think about too. Yes, you can perform your nail repair, and you can absolutely put other products on top of this within reason. Like, say, for example, okay, I broke this nail, but all the other nails on my hand have like pink gel polish on them, or they have French tips on them or something. Yeah, yes, you can absolutely put some, like an overlay. I don't know about extensions. You probably could, but my point is, yes, you can absolutely put other nail products on top of this after we finish buffing and we do our last layer of activator. So if you were planning on doing that, you would buff the nail like I'm doing. We would cleanse it. We would add our last layer of activator to harden it and seal it all in. And then instead of going and doing the top coat like I'm going to do to finish it, you could absolutely go in and add some other products on top of it. So look at that. I can't believe how natural it looks. So we have practiced this a couple of times in school on like nail tips and on our mannequin hands. And every time I have done it on like a fake nail tip, like you could absolutely kind of see like the edges of the wrap. So I am really proud at how natural that looks. You cannot even tell. It looks like a normal natural nail. Alright, so we are just going to cleanse the nail real fast and get rid of any of the dust and debris. And then we are going to add a layer of top coat to it. And that will be it, guys. Look at that. That nail had a big, giant rip in it. And I fixed it. And it actually looks good. Like all the times that I've like practiced doing the nail repairs on like nail tips or on the mannequin, like they never actually looked nice and natural like this. So all that practice is paying off. I'm super proud of how this one turned out. So yep, here is our last layer of activator. So when you're using resin, no matter what you're using it for, if it's a nail repair, if it's a nail wrap service, if it's a dip powder service, when you get to the end like this and you're buffing and finishing up the nails, it doesn't matter if it's dip powder, if it's a fiberglass wrap, you absolutely, when you're done buffing and filing, you have to reactivate, do another layer of activator or another layer of accelerator to kind of reseal it in after you buffed it. So activator takes 60 seconds to harden. The accelerator only takes seconds. So as soon as this activator is dry, we will top coat it and we will be done. So I'm going to start cleaning up my station while I wait for it to dry. I'm going to throw all my multi-use tools, anything metal that I need to scrub clean and disinfect, I put it all on the right side. Any kind of single-use items like nail files or buffers, I keep all that stuff there on the left side. And when I'm done and ready to clean up, like that, you throw everything out that's on the left side, and then everything that I had on the right side, I throw in my little bucket that I have labeled that says used dirty tools that need to be disinfected. And that is how you fix a broken, cracked, torn, or ripped natural nail using resin and a fabric wrap. So with every single nail service, my very last step every single time is to drop down some cuticle oil onto each nail. And I love, love, love to like massage it into the cuticles and give them like a little tiny cuticle massage just to rub it all into their skin really good and give them a little bit of a massage. But there you go, guys. That is how you repair a cracked, torn, or ripped natural nail using a fabric wrap. So they come in silk and fiberglass are the two main ones. Well, look at that. You cannot even tell that I covered that entire nail with a big old piece of fiberglass. You cannot even see it. This nail actually looks a lot better than all of my actual nails.